There are moments in history where the world doesn't break with a sound, breaks with a silence so heavy it feels like the air itself forgot how to breathe. It began with a single stone inside the Great Pyramid, a stone that shifted when no wind, no earthquake, no human hand touched it, just a quiet, impossible movement, as if something inside the structure woke up after thousands of years. Witnesses described it differently. Some said they heard a low, breath-like vibration. Some claimed the torches flickered even when there was no draft. Others simply refused to speak at all. But one question spread through the excavation team like a cold fever. What exactly is sealed inside a pyramid that even time itself hesitates to disturb it? That day, a thin crack appeared on an inner chamber. Wall a crack so small it looked harmless, but it ran perfectly straight, like a cut made with intention. Not random, not natural, almost designed. And here's the most disturbing part. Every ancient text, every forgotten inscription, warned the world about one thing. Not what the pyramids were, but what they were meant to contain. Because pyramids were never just tombs, never simple monuments, never silent. They were locks. Locks built around something humanity was never meant to see. And the day that crack appeared was the first fracture in a secret older than every civilization that followed. Long before the world called it Egypt, long before sand swallowed kingdoms and kings, there was a moment in time when the desert was not silent, but alive with the heartbeat of a rising civilization. It was 2600 BCE in age when stone was not just stone. It was a language, a belief, a promise to the sky. The people of that era lived with two truths. The sun gave them life, and the darkness beneath the earth watched them back. Their civilization stood between these two forces like a fragile flame. Every morning, priests climbed the temple steps before the first light touched the horizon, their voices echoing across the still, cold air, reciting prayers not just for prosperity, but for protection, because the Egyptians carried an unspoken fear that some things buried in the deep past should never rise again. Their architecture reflected that fear. The Great Pyramid wasn't merely a structure. It was a deliberate shape for perfect triangular walls converging upward like hands clasped in a plea. Its corridors were angled, its shafts aligned with the stars, as if trying to hold something down and let something else escape upward. Around it, life moved with ritualistic precision. Workers carried limestone blocks in rhythmic lines, their footsteps thudding like a pulse across the plateau. Scribes recorded omens in ink as black as night. The smell of burning incense drifted through the air like a warning. Every brick, every prayer, every symbol carved into stone felt like part of a greater design, a design the common people were never meant to understand. Because in this world, fear was not spoken aloud. It was built into the walls. Even the landscape seemed to cooperate in ice dunes, shifting like living creatures, whispering against the base of the pyramid, as if trying to remind the people of what slept beneath in that time. The rulers didn't ask how to build greatness. They asked how to contain it. And from that question, the pyramids were born. It began with the smallest cracks not in stone, but in the people at first. Workers simply stopped showing up for the morning assembly. No alarms, no commotion, just empty spaces where familiar faces should have been. Supervisors assumed they were sick or lost in the dunes. But the strange part was this: their belongings remained untouched. Tools still arranged neatly beside half-finished tasks, almost as if they stepped away mid-breath and never stepped back. Then came the symbols, carved lightly into fresh limestone blocks, circles, strange geometric patterns that no artisan claimed responsibility for. They weren't rough or rushed. They were precise, perfect, too perfect for human hands. Working under the desert sun, scribes tried matching them to known glyphs, rituals, warnings. None fit. The closest comparison came from a forgotten tablet buried in the archives. A script said to predate even the earliest dynasties, a script rumored to represent things. It's not meant to be spoken aloud. Whispers followed the symbols, not actual voices, but the eerie sensation that something was being said just beyond the threshold of hearing. Workers in the inner corridors reported a faint, rhythmic hum coming from deeper chambers that should have been sealed. Sometimes the torches would dim for a moment, their flames bending toward the inner darkness as if pulled by an unseen breath. Shadows, too, began to behave strangely, not moving but lingering, hanging just a second longer after a person passed, staying where they shouldn't, stretching where no light should have allowed them to reach. Fear spread quietly, almost politely, like a guest no one invited, but everyone sensed walking through the camp. People avoided the northeast corner of the pyramid site, claiming the air there felt heavier, as if the atmosphere thickened around their bodies. Some said the sand in that area stayed unnaturally cool, even at noon. Others felt a faint vibration beneath their feet, like the earth was holding its breath. Priests held emergency rituals, circling the construction grounds with incense smoke and lines of chalk meant to purify the space. But the rituals seemed to fade faster each day, as though the desert wind refused to carry them, and slowly, the workers realized the truth they were not allowed to say aloud. The pyramid was changing, not because of them, but despite them. Something inside the structure had begun to influence the world around it, subtle, silent, patient, a kind of quiet rot spreading through stone, sand, and human minds alike, and no one knew whether it was awakening or escaping. All the whispers, all the shadows, all the impossible movements led to this moment. Deep within the heart of the Great Pyramid, behind walls no living soul was meant to enter, a hidden archive lay untouched for millennia. It was not a tomb. It was a library of power, carved from stone and sealed with rituals older than the pharaohs themselves, scrolls of gold, obsidian tablets, and artifacts whose geometry defied reason. They were not meant to be seen. They were meant to contain knowledge humanity was never ready to hold, and that is why the horror began. The pyramid had been constructed not to honor the dead, but to imprison what the builders feared could unravel the world. Not spirits, not curses, but information so advanced, so dangerous, it could rewrite history itself. Somewhere along the centuries, a single misstep awakened it. A crack in the inner chamber, a misplaced tool, a human curiosity that refused to remain idle. And that is when the anomaly spreads, the shadows, the whispers. The impossible occurrences, all a consequence of a truth too heavy for the world to carry. Authorities of every era, rulers and priests alike, knew of this danger. Records were rewritten. Archives were destroyed. The very sands of the desert were shifted to hide entrances. Every civilization that rose afterward was carefully guided away from the secrets that slept beneath the pyramids. Even modern archaeologists, unknowingly, have stumbled upon fragments, but most discoveries were erased, dismissed, or classified, buried under layers of bureaucracy and disbelief. Yet the twist that no one anticipated. This was not a mere containment. The pyramid itself had agency, a structure designed to adapt, protect, and, when disturbed, react. Every anomaly, every strange vibration, every whispered warning was the pyramid's way of maintaining balance, ensuring the world never saw the full truth at once. And what did the archive contain? Instructions to manipulate time, to alter human memory, to harness forces that should have remained unknown. The builder's greatest fear was not death, but knowledge escaping its cage. When the inner walls finally cracked, the first fragments of this forbidden knowledge began to seep outward. Those who saw its heaven partially could not unsee. Their minds grasped at concepts too vast, too impossible, leaving them changed forever. And in that revelation, one fact became horrifyingly clear. The pyramids were never monuments of the past. They were guardians of a secret that would, if fully uncovered, rewrite the story of all civilization, and humanity had only just begun to notice. The pyramids, though millennia old, are far from silent. Their secrets did not die with the civilizations that built them. They continued to ripple through the world, leaving traces in places most would never notice. Modern scientists still struggle with anomalies, vibrations detected deep within the Great Pyramid, geometric alignments that defy natural logic, and the inexplicable preservation of certain chambers for thousands of years. Satellite imagery reveals patterns in the desert that suggest intentional designs. Hidden from human eyes for centuries, explorers and archaeologists report strange phenomena, tools mysteriously misplaced, lights flickering where no current wiring exists, and soft, rhythmic hums that seem to echo through the rock itself. Many dismiss these as coincidence, yet some researchers quietly insist that the pyramid reacts to human presence, a subtle, persistent reminder of the power contained within. Cultural scars endure. Ancient myths, once dismissed as folklore, often describe guardians or forces lurking beneath monumental structures. Stories of lost knowledge, forbidden chambers, and impossible mechanisms appear across distant civilizations, suggesting that the echoes of the pyramids reached far beyond Egypt itself. And then there are the surviving clues, fragments of manuscripts, describing technologies or rituals too advanced to explain, artifacts that challenge our understanding of history, and cryptic symbols found in remote locations, as if scattered intentionally to warn the world of something it cannot yet comprehend. It is no wonder humans still feel an unspoken fear around these structures. Even today, when a tourist enters a hidden chamber or stands at the base of the Great Pyramid, there is an instinctive pause, a feeling that something watches, that some knowledge lies just beyond reach, a reminder that the past is not past, not that the locks the ancients built continue to guard what should remain unseen. The echo persists, not in whispers alone, but in the unanswered questions, the anomalies that defy logic, and the knowledge that humanity may have only glimpsed a fraction of what lies hidden. The pyramids, it seems, are not merely relics. They are living puzzles, ancient sentinels that stretch across time, haunting every mind curious enough to seek the truth. The desert winds swirl over the pyramids, carrying grains of sand like whispers from a forgotten era. Each stone, each shadow, holds a secret that even time hesitates to speak aloud. The pyramids stand as silent mirrors of humanity's ambition, reflecting not what we have achieved, but what we were never meant to know. They are monuments, yes, but also warnings carved in stone, waiting patiently for eyes daring enough to see. Imagine a single candle flickering in an endless dark hall. Its light reaches only a fraction of the room, leaving the rest cloaked in quiet uncertainty. This is the pyramid, a fragment of truth, glowing amid shadows that stretch far beyond comprehension. And as the sun sets, the desert swallows the horizon, turning gold into gray, warmth into a chill. One last crack in the chamber walls catches the dying light, hinting at what lies beneath, yet revealing nothing. The air is still. The silence is louder than any voice. We leave the story here, not with answers, but with questions that crawl under your skin. What else remains hidden? How much of history is shaped by forces we cannot see? And if the pyramids are alive in ways we cannot comprehend, what does that make us? The world continues beyond the sand, but the pyramids watch, still guarding, still waiting. A quiet presence that endures beyond generations, a breath that never fades. What if everything we thought we knew about the pyramids was only the surface? Hidden within their walls are fragments of knowledge, scattered symbols, and whispers of secrets still waiting to be uncovered. One detail went unnoticed in today's exploration, a faint marking near the northern chamber, almost erased by time, hinting at something far larger yet to be revealed. Next time, we will journey deeper into a pyramid no one has dared to fully map, where shadows hold answers and every corridor could. Rewrite history. Comment below. Which secret do you think the ancients were trying to hide? Your theory could be closer to the truth than you realize. And don't forget, the next episode will uncover what even modern science fears to explain.